Hey everyone, it's TJ one last time for the Add One Challenge for 2013. Yes, I do realize it's already 2014. My challenge ended 2 weeks ago, and I just haven't had time to get in front of a camera since then. Um, in short, I think by and large, for me, the Add One Challenge was a big success. With French, I don't know that I would say, for instance, that I am ready to go fly to France and get a seat at a cafe somewhere in Paris and have a conversation with a native speaker, but I definitely feel comfortable using the parts of the language that I have. I feel like I can understand definitely far more than I did before the challenge started, and I feel competent enough to try to start mangling my way through a book. Um, Hebrew was a little bit less of a success, if only because I think I was overly ambitious in my plan for how I was going to learn the language. And I ended up having to go back to step one and completely rethink it. So what I'm working on now in Hebrew, especially going forward, is working on verb roots, since everything is built up from those roots anyway. And I think I'm on a good path to have a much better vocabulary and therefore be able to actually speak conversationally, say, by the middle of this year. In terms of how I was going to go about learning in general, I did manage to study almost every single day. I think if I missed 2 days, that was a lot. I was using Lyft to track it until they changed the interface, and for the record, I do hate the new interface. Other than that, I made it through the French tree in Duolingo. I scored above a 4 actually on the French exam, so I feel like I did fairly well. Someday there'll be a Hebrew and I can go that route. My plan to take a test for it unfortunately fell through because I didn't read the pages well enough to see that you had to have a month's warning. So I'm aiming towards taking some test to test my French probably in the March to May timeframe, depending on how things work out. I did promise my blog readers an explanation for why French at some point, given the fact that my blog primarily was originally about Hebrew and seems to have now turned into my learning foreign languages in general. The company I work for, who will remain nameless because they really have a very strict policy about us mentioning on social media who we work for, it's not any government agency or anything like that, has a really great perk that once every 5 years you get to take a 1 month paid sabbatical. So my wife and I have decided that we are probably, and I would say probably being about 90-95%, looking at taking a trip to Europe. I already speak Spanish reasonably well, but if we're going to go to Western Europe, the chances were we're going to end up probably, say, Spain, France, those areas. So hopefully this gives me enough French that if we do end up going to France, I will actually be able to get around without having to resort to my English as much, which would be a very good thing. So if any of you watching this are thinking about doing the Add One Challenge, I'll put the link below. Registration is open until January 15th for the new Add One Challenge, and I will probably see you there. Thank you for listening, and take it easy.